just before Mr. Soble calls back today's amateurs for their final review, I'd like to remind you how you too may audition in order to appear on Canada's original amateur show.
I think Ken started at CHML as an announcer, and one thing led to another, and it wasn't long before he ended up owning the whole station.
A lot of good things fell into his life, and because of having done nice things for others. She was part of the Jane Grey Players, and which was a little theatrical play guild on the radio. And she was running late, and it was pouring rain. She couldn't get to the station. And my father did have a car, and he offered to drive her because she couldn't get a taxi. And when she was getting out of the cab, she said, I don't have time to show you around the station now, but if you would like to come by, I would be happy to show you around. I think clearly my father had probably worked his way towards getting in the fight because he'd been interested in radio from the time he was a little boy, evidently building crystal radio set. Anyway, so he did go, and he ended up getting a job with the Jane Grey Players and with the station, and he announced hog prices and sang commercials on the radio, and evidently banged pots and pans when necessary during the gripping tales on the radio during the plays. And it just grew from that he got his foot in the door. And
the station was owned by a senator, Senator Hardy, and he built the station but got the license for his son. Unfortunately, his son was an alcoholic, and the station was going nowhere, so we hired Ken Soble to be the manager of that station. I guess Soble's eventual plan was to buy the station.
I guess he got really interested in the broadcast field, and he was able to acquire a license to our TV station, which he got, and started Channel 11. He got Hamilton in the limelight because the Hamilton station was a pretty powerful station. It actually covered 1/5 of the Canadian population, the coverage that we had, because it expanded, right into the Toronto and beyond area, and maybe all as far up to Oshawa, and down the other way, and I think it even went into the States. So it covered a pretty wide area. So that the station, Channel 11, became pretty well known. He had to be very smart for what he did, and one great thing about him, he hired good people, and he let them do their jobs.
He was in Hamilton, so he figured he had to be part of the community. The whole station realized in order to gain listeners, you have to represent the heartbeat of the community. So the station encouraged all of us to become involved, and there'd always be some project that we'd lead. As a matter of fact, two of the biggest things that he was responsible for, there was the Winnipeg flood, which caught the attention of the whole country, and he arranged to have a home built in a day in Westdale. The home is still there. And we broadcast from there, and people bought tickets to win the home. And that raised over $100,000, which was a lot of money in those times. So that was a big thing for people.
I think he was very much involved in, certainly in fundraising, but also in awareness in the Jewish community, awareness in the general community for Israel, promoting Zionism. One of the things that he did was had the Harry Harris Jewish Hour on radio, which it's kind of interesting with the Jewish population in Toronto versus Hamilton, and there wasn't a Toronto station that would do it. So that's the kind of input that I feel he had in terms of what was going on from an administrative level, bureaucratic level. I have very clear memories of a lot of meetings going on at our home with either they were directly with regard to the synagogue or the synagogues or the Jewish community at large. We had a lot of wonderful dignitaries come to our home and be hosted. A lot of the foundations for Canada's relationship to Israel were actually happening in my home.
Community looked to him when they needed a new Jewish home. So he was the man behind building the new Jewish Community Center on Delaware Avenue.
But in those years, it was the Timmy Easter Seal campaign, and he had the distinction of having the largest crowd ever in Maple Leaf Gardens. And again, when he said that he wanted to take Maple Leaf Gardens for this event, he was thought to be out of his mind. Like, how could you possibly get people, to fill the arena? I mean, it's a massive place. Mm-hmm. And it was standing room only for this Timmy appeal. And it was part of March of Dimes, I believe, the Easter Seal campaign. And he started with his amateur hour, and then he brought in his musicians, and he brought in special acts and had this grand festival. And again, when you see what's being done in the last maybe 10, 15 years, even as recently as Hurricane Sandy, what do? They got, the entertainment field got together and raised some funds. But again, this is 60 plus years ago. He'd hoped for the satellite network, and he was in the process of applying for it. And this was in very, very early space travel, when you think about it. I mean, we had not gone to the moon yet. None of that sort of space travel was even, it was nothing more than science fiction. And he had envisioned a satellite network that would reach not only the large cities in Canada, but throughout the north.
He had the foresight of the business, and he just had some knowledge way ahead of his time, and like his amateur hour show was what predated a lot of the shows that are now on TV. America's Got Talent and The Voice and some of the big shows you see on network television now. He was doing those kind of things 50, 60 years ago.
Well, a lot of people, to a lot of his ideas, thought he was really a little left of center. But I think as the more of these schemes he pulled off, the more people recognized the fact that he might be onto something. Without overstating it, the community at large was completely devastated. I think a lot of people became very fearful as to what was going to happen next, because a lot of things were in flux. He really did the job of many, many, many people. And in some real cases, there wasn't finances to hire or replace all the stuff he did from a philanthropic point of view. I mean, a lot of organizations literally suffered. Even now, people still remember, which is an incredible tribute to him.
Simply address a postcard or letter giving your name, address, and telephone number, if you have one, to Ken Soble, CHML Hamilton, or Box 900 Toronto, and state briefly what your particular talent is. You'll be notified when and where to appear for your audition. When sending in your letter, would you kindly mark the word audition on the outside of your envelope?
Now we have our amateurs in review, and number one from Toronto, Jean Farrow.
I'll be loving you always.
Then he started the Ken Soble Amateur Show, which was a big thing in Canada, which was a knockoff of the Major Bowes Amateur Show, which is one of the biggest radio shows in American history. Major Bowes was famous for having somebody on like the American Idol show. If somebody's always on there where he'd boing, ring the gong, I'm sorry, thanks for your efforts, and off they'd go crying. And then it's Wheel of Fortune, round and round she goes, and who knows. And Ken Soble ran an amateur show here.
And some of the names that came through there, one of them happened to be out of the Toronto area, was a man named Oscar Peterson, who later became one of the outstanding jazz pianists of our era.
Would travel across the country beyond the radio. Then the winners would form a traveling company, and they'd go to theaters.
He decided, well, I'm going to move the show to TV, which he did. And it ran for a while, and I was part of that show. I was the cameraman at that time, and we did a number of shows. I don't know exactly how many years we ran with the show, but we went through a lot of acts, and there were a variety of acts, anywhere from square dancing to ventriloquists, tap dancers, singers, accordion players, ballet, jazz dancing, just ran the whole gamut of entertainment that you can possibly imagine.
The Ken Soble Amateur Show.
The Ken Soble Amateur Show made its start on radio coast to coast in 1931 and went on to become a weekly TV show in 1954. The program's broad audience appeal made it one of the longest running in Canadian broadcasting history.
Introduce tonight's talent, Ken Soble.
Before my time on the radio hour, when we played records, they actually had live entertainers on. And Molly Bube, I guess, well, she was in Toronto at the time, and she was, Harry Harris evidently discovered her. She was doing some sort of act somewhere, and I think she was impersonating his radio hour with him, and he fell in love with her and hired her on his programs. She did various sticks and songs and comedy bits. That's before she even came to Hamilton, when she married Harry Bube. And she still did her entertaining here and became quite a force as a personality and as a community worker.
My father, who would get the Jewish papers, he would look through the paper, and they always had a poetry of some kind. And he'd call me in from time to time, and he'd say, "Molly, I think this is a good piece." He'd read it to me because he could read quicker than I, he was he could read that Yiddish faster than I could at that time. And I said, "That's it, I like it." He'd cut it out. I'd go up to my room. I would not come down until it was memorized. Then I came down. I would do it for the family, and I did it at every family function. And then I think I was 16 when I did my first Yiddish professional one at the Victory Theater in Toronto on Spadina Avenue. I also did the commentary for the Queen when she visited Hamilton from the old City Hall.
Is that right?
And that was exciting. So then, after I did those few things, Tom Darling asked me if I would sit in for Jane Grey while she took this plane load of people to England. When Hadassah was having any kind of bazaar or function, they would ask me to be the interviewee. And so Gordy Tapp interviewed me one day. Tom Darling happened to see the interview, and from that day on, he kept giving me little jobs. Eventually, he gave me the Bev Marsh show. And one thing led to another, and then I did puppetry for for children. And when I got on television in Toronto, because of the puppets, I was invited to go on the Uncle Bobby show, which was broadcast across Canada. I married Harry in '47, but I had been to Hamilton a number of times. Ken Soble had booked me in to do Bonds or JNF, I don't know, one of the Jewish organizations. I was just welcomed so warmly by the community because of Harry Bube. He was so loved in this community. He was with Great West Life. And it didn't take long before they found out that I did this Yiddish stuff. And so I was invited everywhere to perform, and I enjoyed that tremendously. I just have wonderful memories about Beth Jacob. I used to perform for their every function. I performed for every synagogue. I performed for every chapter. I performed for every organization, Jewish and non-Jewish. I do an hour and a half of stand-up Yiddish comedy.
Can you give us a taste of that?
It's about a little boy who steals into his grandfather's bedroom to take his snuff box. And it goes something like this. Seide, wie ist dein Tabak, Puschke? Ich will euch a Schmeck. Geh, du bist da Stiffer, sagt er. Und geht weg. Dacht ich, als du seidet schlafen, keiner wird nicht sein. Will ich auf die spitzen Finger in sein Stüber rein, aussuchen die Puschke Tabak in sein langen Rock, anmessen die große Brillen, umgehen mit sein Stock. Tabak will ich keine schmecken, wie viel noch ich will ich euch sehen, wie Seide, ein schönes Spiel. Schau, die Seide muss schon schlafen, bin ich bald beim Tier. Spanne rein zu ihm und kämme es herzig nicht kein Rehr. Hab ich Segens Rock von Bettel, sich die Brillen aus, nehm die Brillen mitten stecken, in ich geh raus. Stell ich sich an Kegenspiegel in sein langen Rock, mit die Brillen auf die Augen, in mein Hand dem Stock. Will ich öffnen die Puschke, kenn ich nicht, zu schwer. Reiß ich sie mit alle Keuches, dreh sie hin und her, bis es reißt sich auf den Deckel mit der größten Prall, flieten Nasen in die Augen, Tabak, bitte, go, abschied, Seide, Giecher, komm mal her, hier, abschied, oi die Augen, Seide, ich will das Ton nicht mehr. Kommt der Seide schnell zu laufen. Hi, ha, abschied, was ist das? So bitter in die Augen, bitter da nass. Aber der Sess, sagt wes naschen Tabak, als der Seide schlafen? Ich weiß, bin gewinner schlechter, hat mich Gott gestrafen. Abschied!
Bev Marsh is a radio and TV personality, homemaking consultant, and mother.
My sons are pretty grown up now, and they're all very fussy about their laundry. So I use all detergent. It gets the dirtiest dirt out, and all protects your automatic. It's concentrated. Use less. Low on suds, too. And I don't know anything that beats all when it comes to getting my family washed clean. Now look at this. That's what I call all clean. You know, thanks to my modern automatic washer and Concentrate It All, I've become an expert on suds. I used to think that lots of suds meant a cleaner wash. But the high sudsing detergent that had worked in my wringer washer didn't seem right in my automatic. I must have been doing something wrong. And you know what it was? Those thick wringer washer suds were slowing down the action of my automatic. Ah, but Concentrate It All doesn't make thick suds. Now my automatic works freely, gets clothes really clean. You see, All's cleaning power is concentrated down in the water where it counts. With an automatic washer, strange as it may seem, less suds can mean a cleaner wash. Just look, these are the nicest, cleanest jeans I've ever had. I hope you try Concentrate It All soon. Listen to that. And he wanted to go to work. Not my Harry. With a cough like that, he needs good medicine. Thank heaven Listerine brought out this new cough syrup. From Listerine, you know it's good. Its special blend of medical ingredients effectively relieves chest and throat coughs due to colds, and you can get it only from your pharmacist. Really helps Harry's cough.
New Listerine cough syrup in regular cherry and honey lemon.
Why, look, he's hardly stirring it at all.
Brother, the way that paint clings to that brush. I never seen paint go on like that before. Man, that's real easy to apply. Look how it goes on, over everything.
You're watching a demonstration of a new kind of wall paint. New vinyl acrylic Glidden homogenized spread satin. It's creamy smooth, needs very little stirring, lets you cut preparation time. New Glidden spread satin is now homogenized. It clings to the brush or roller till you flow it on. New Glidden spread satin is now homogenized. Use it on walls, woodwork, or wallpaper, anywhere in your home.
Good gracious. Good Glidden.
From every point of view, the easy paint for lazy people is now easier than ever to use. New Glidden spread satin, now homogenized.
Now, the Jewish radio hour is Sunday mornings from 10 to 11, and that was the Harry Harris Jewish hour. Harry Harris was a actor, a Jewish theatrical person, and a chazan. You know, they did anything in order to make a living in Toronto, and came over here because he couldn't get a program anywhere else. So Sunday morning from 10 to 11 would be the Jewish radio hour. And it would consist mainly of chazan cantorial songs, and eventually when Israeli music came in and Jewish comedy songs, there would be one record, and that record would be sponsored by Crown Bakery and by some other, and he's resold that hour to the sponsors. Well, it goes back, it was on CKOC before CHML, probably in the late middle 30s. And then it came over to CHML when around the time Ken Soble took over the radio station. So that would go from the late 30s, wartime, right through, I was connected with it probably to the 50s, and it stayed on a while longer.
The Harry Harris Jewish Hour, and it was Irving Zucker's father who was very instrumental in that particular show, and whoever went on the Jewish Hour, he would invite them back to the Zucker home for lunch or dinner or breakfast, depending on what time it was.
These guys were from the tail end of Yiddish art theater. You know, these guys actually thought they were artists, and this was just a way to make a living, but they liked to produce shows and bring in talent and do plays. Every song had a sponsor. So for Crown Bread or whatnot, I forget who the sponsors were, but they're all these Jewish. We also made money at 10:30. That's when we announced the funerals. So the joke was, you know, you listen to the Jewish hour, and if you don't hear your name, it's okay to get up. A lot of non-Jewish listeners who liked the music, you know, on Sunday morning, that everywhere else it was just church and religious service.
It's true, it's true.
As a matter of fact, the guy who's doing CHML morning show now, Bob Bertina, he grew up in that. He knew more about, you know, he liked the Kleischer music and clarinet, and he told me more about the Jewish hour than I remembered.
One of the outstanding people, I guess, he brought in was a man named Paul Hanover, who was the man of the morning for, I don't know how many years, 30-odd plus years, was the king of morning talk on radio.
It was wartime. I was 17 or something at the time, and not old enough to go into the armed services, and I had been sort of a class clown in school, as all guys with no confidence, you know, these guys with hang-ups, and that's how you got attention. And I said, well, what am I going to do? So I said, like, get into some sort of show business. Well, the only show business there was radio in those days. So I wound up in Sault Ste. Marie, interesting, another steel town. Worked there a few months. I went to Chatham, and they kept coming home because of family and everything here, trying to get on CHML, which I eventually did in '45. And that became the long career. I was the only Jewish announcer when I got hired, so they hired me, and that's how I made another $10 a week doing the Jewish hour. Radio depended on network programs, much like TV today has network programs. Radio had network programs. Bob Hope, Jack Benny, they all had their half-hour radio shows. But in the hours that you weren't taking the network, you had to produce local programs. And that's where eventually fellows like myself came in. Originally we were announcers, then we became personalities as the whole business developed on a local basis, because they knew that their strength had to be becoming very popular with the local people. At one time, people would listen to Buffalo stations or Toronto stations, so you had to get them involved with a Hamilton audience with a Hamilton station, and we managed to do that with our program, with all our special events. I used to do a program every Saturday afternoon called Meet Me at the Chicken Roost. I'd go and interview some of the customers, and we stole an idea from Groucho Marx program, you know, the secret word, and the duck would drop down and you'd win extra. So if they said the secret word, they got their lunch paid free. How did they say the secret word? You steer your question. If you think, well, that'd be nice if they won, you'd make your question in such a way that they'd have to say the secret word almost. Oh, you did the secret word, and you got their lunch paid.
Paul was the mayor of the morning for, 30 plus years or more. So he was the king of the morning show, was Paul Hanover. He was the man.
That gave birth to one of the big jokes that's still going on with Vic Copps. It started. He, under his rule or office time, they took over a bunch of homes in McMaster, expropriated them because McMaster wanted to expand it. As a matter of fact, those homes are still there, right near the hospital, and that caused an uproar. So I came up with the thing that I'm the mayor of the morning, and in Westdale, Vic Copps is the nightmare.
Didn't you used to have a column for the CJO News?
Yeah, it was called
Our Town.
Our Town, is that? And it was like little tidbits in there about people and personalities. I would write a little joke about them because I was everywhere. I went around, so I would make notes, and I said, I got to fill a column. And who did I see recently? Well, I saw Abe Hotz, and what did he say? Or I was with Max Mintz. Or I had a joke that I was using on the radio. I could use their name, you know, something about. I remember one joke I made was Henry Katz. He got a QC, a Queen's Counsel, and my joke at the time was I didn't realize that the Queen dealt in first mortgages, and I'd like talking about the success or how the people that we knew, how their kids did. To me, that's always fascinating. That little kid you knew like that is now a general manager of some company in New York. I still get fascinated by that. So I would drop those items in there too. It's just, people are interesting, that's all.